Hey guys, this video will be a quick guide on the second week of the Terrmian Beach X Sea Pass events, where we'll quickly go over the new Papu vs Otter fight, the Otter coupons, and the stack event. We'll then take a little bit more time talking about the new Otter and Papu shop. Unlike some events, the Otter and Papu shop items are basically all worth it to buy, but we'll still look at what they are selling and how best to use all of these items. The first three quick events is the Otter vs Papu, Sea Pot, and Otter Pearl Coupon events. The Otter vs Papu event is a pretty simple event, where you either choose Otter or Papu, insult the other faction, then fight the opposing faction. These fights take place for 15 minutes and have a 5-minute break before the next fight begins. It's pretty easy and you can get an extra 30 event seals for taking part in it. It's a fun little event and just adds more seals where you can trade in for the event store. I go over all the event items in my first Terrmian Beach guide, so if you're interested, you can look at that. Next up is another quick event which just has each player play for up to 2 hours a day. If you play for 2 hours, you get 9 deep sea clay which can be crafted into a 200 stack, a 150 stack, and a 100 stack. You need 50 deep sea clay for the 200 stack, 30 for the 150 stack, and 20 for the 100 stack. You then manufacture them and turn them into Creo, which is in Velia. If you play for 12 days, you can get all 3 stacks, which is very doable as the event lasts for about 18 more days. If you aren't able to get all 3 stacks, I would just focus on the 200 stack first, then the 150, and finally the 100 stack. I would personally prefer a 200 stack over one 150 stack and one 100 stack, but that preference is always up to the player, so just choose what makes sense for you. Either way, this is some nice free stacks, so definitely worth doing. Finally, for the small events, we have the free Otter Pearl coupon, which just lets you take 500 and 600 pearls off from a 2000 pearl shop item. You can't stack them on one item or use them for multiple items in the item cart. It must be one coupon for one item that's worth 2000 pearls or more. The nice thing is, you should be able to use it for the Badaka outfit, which is pretty nice, as 600 pearls off of a 2200 pearl item is about 27% off. 600 and 500 pearls isn't that crazy, so there is no point in buying something you'll never use even if it's 600 pearls off, but it can be nice if it's on an item that you already want. The coupon only lasts for 3 days until August 29th, so just make sure you're getting it before then. Obviously, since the coupon is a flat amount, the best deal would be to get an item that's as close to 2000 pearls as possible, since a 10% off coupon would be better if you're buying something that's 20,000 pearls, for example. Either way though, it's just a simple coupon, so no big deal if you can't use it. Finally, for the biggest thing is the Papu and Otter shop, where Papu sell more PvE focused items and Otter sell more life skill focused items. These stores are going to be right next to the artists in Terrmian Beach. This year, you can simply buy all items from the store for 1 million silver. There will be a slight point in time where the stores won't be there, as the stores are only available between Thursday 2100 to Wednesday 2100, so there is a small gap between Wednesday night and Thursday morning where they may not be there. Now that we know that, we'll go over each individual item and what it's good for. Do keep in mind it's basically worth it to buy all items in the shop since all of it costs 1 million silver and that's really cheap. But still, for newer players, it's still worth it to know which items are good and what they're used for. Very quickly in the Papu shop, we have the Papu's Turf gift box, which contains a bunch of items. The loyalties are of course useful for many different items, but most early game players will focus on getting weight limit for their main characters. Cronstones can of course be very useful for enhancing every item in the game. Next, your crystal shards are needed to make materials to enhance your gear, such as your concentrated blackstones and chaotic blackstones. Item collection scrolls are of course amazing and basically required if you're grinding PvE, as they give both drop rate and drop amount, which affects trash loot. There are some grind spots which it's okay if you don't use loot scrolls, but you still lose a lot of potential silver per hour. Blessed message scrolls are amazing for XP and skill XP, last for 2 hours and you do get a decent amount from events. However, they are getting slightly more rare due to the 300 and 520 scrolls being given out more often. Magical elixirs can be used to turn drafts into hour-long versions, which is a really nice quality of life and a silver save, but no longer required because of fairy auto-pop potions. However, you are able to turn the plus 5 AP drafts into 1 hour ones, so do keep that in mind. Alien's Tears do let you revive if you die in PvE or PvP, and of course are given out a lot during events. That's basically all the stuff in the Papu turf box. We'll now look at the new items in the shop and of course skip the items that we already went over like crons. The sealed Shikatu shiny box gives random items that are always pretty decent. This box used to be sold for 100 million silver during events on the Pearl store, so it's definitely worth 1 million silver. This is the combat version, so we'll have accessories more tailored towards combat. You probably won't get anything crazy, but at least you'll always get your silver back. Next is the memory fragments, 30 for 1 million silver, and it's already crazy as usually they sit on the central market for 3 to 4 million silver each. They are used to repair max durability of gear if you fail an enhancement or any other thing that reduces max durability. 3 Advice of Valks for 1 million is still a great deal, as even though stacks are becoming cheaper over time, 30 stacks for 1 million is still a really good deal. Stacks are used to enhance gear. 30 stacks more specifically is more of a lower stack used for pry or duo boss gear, or maybe some pry or duo accessories. Some people may even go up to try boss gear with these, but it really depends on the player. Next up, Marnie's Unstable Fuel is amazing 10 for 1 million, as they usually are sold for 10 million silver each, or 5 million during events. They are used to tag items over using the character tag function. The cost is basically 1% of the usual, so even if you don't tag a lot, it's probably still worth getting. The item Brandstone is nice as it lets you lose less durability for your gear. This can be nice as you need to repair less in PvE and PvP. You can even use this on life skill gear like the fishing rod or life skill tools, which can really help your life skill time. Finally, the Sealed Book of Combat is a great thing that allows you to get 24 hours of bonus experience. After you open the book, you can swap it to different characters and give all your alternative characters 24 hours of experience boost. Overall, pretty useful item even though it expires in 7 days after you open it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, all Papu items are definitely worth it to buy for 1 million silver each. Moving on to the Otter shop, there is another Otter Surf gift box which contains a bunch of items for lifeskilling and other things. We already went over the loyalties and crons, but they can also be used for lifeskilling gear. The Supreme Repair Tools are amazing as they can be used to repair the Supreme Tools that have 5000 durability. These are useful if you're going to cook or do alchemy for an extended amount of time, and are usually used on recipes that have a lower amount of weight, so you can cook or do alchemy up to 5000 times without going overweight. The Secret Book of Florin is great as it adds 1000 mastery, similar to that of a loot scroll but not as required. 100 mastery is useful, but lifeskilling scales more linearly, so it's not going to be as game-breaking as loot scrolls. The Laura's Warm Black Tea is obviously amazing for lifeskilling, since it adds experience and weight, but also great for gathering as it adds gathering drop rate. This is only for non-main mats, so it doesn't increase your meat drops if you're butchering, but does add Kafra, Sharps, and other rare drops. Finally, we went over the magical elixirs and Alien's Tears, but they are also useful for lifeskilling. Moving on to the main store, there's the Life Shikatu box, which theoretically gives slightly more silver on average than the combat box, but still they're pretty similar in value. We went over a bunch of the items in the box already, so we will skip to the Mannered Little Sun, which is a completely cosmetic item for manor only. It's a nice little lamppost for your manor. The Stonetail Windmill can be great for training any horse, as it gives both training and mount experience. The Fiery Celerity Draft is also the same thing, great for horse training. Finally, the Sealed Book of Life is amazing as it gives 50% extra life skill experience. These are slightly better than combat experience as there are generally less sources for life skill experience, but works the same way as you can get 24 hours buff on any character that uses this book, so you can put it on any alt characters. Because life skill experience is shared now, it's not as important but still really useful if you life skill on different characters. In general, all the shop items are extremely worth it for 1 million silver, and I would recommend anyone buy basically everything as it's just so cheap for a lot of value. These items don't expire until you use them, so you can just save them for later even if you don't currently do PvE, PvP, or life skilling. But that's basically it for this video. A bunch of fun events added for Terrmian Beach and some great value you can get from the event store. Do remember that the other events I mentioned last week are still running, so be sure to continue to do your weeklies and AFK fish if you so choose. You can also go to the other Terrmian Beach event store and pick up your weekly items there. I will upload some other videos in the future about AFK fishing, so do look out for that. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all next time.